kind of helps if I turn on phantom power. Good evening. I went with a little bit of a different song this evening because it was just a different song that I had, the same channel had actually posted that lyric video as well. And I love that song too. They've actually got a lot of really good music that they're putting up over there on their on their channel. Crazy, 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 crazy. You know, some of the most disgusting people on this planet are those that are just absolutely fake. It never ceases to amaze me. It really never ceases to amaze me. I am one of those people that I think it's imperative that a person stands behind their word. I think it's imperative that people stand boldly behind their word. Anybody can just say things to appease other people. But it takes a real strong person to not only just speak things, but to live them. Not something I see very often these days. And it's concerning, actually. It really, truly is. Because I think there are many of us that know it's only a matter of time before things get a little stupid, or more likely a lot stupid. And it's really hard to get a bearing on those that you can truly rely on when so many just spew out of their mouth whatever the hell they feel like at the moment, but don't back any of it up. It's concerning. It's frustrating. And if there's any reason for me to be okay with what's to come, it's the fact that those people won't make it. I have long said that the earth is due for a cleansing. I mean it. Absolutely due for a cleansing. Anyway, more to the point of the show, I have got, what do I got up here? 9 again? No, 8. 8. And that was because I was trying to not put up everything that I wanted to put up because it would have been a long damn night. We've got a ton of articles tonight. Well, headlines. I've only got the 8 up that I'm going to go over in somewhat depth, if you will. But, I don't have... How do I even word it? I don't have a peaceful solution for everything that's going on. I don't. I don't know that there is a peaceful solution. Really don't. I cannot even fathom some of the stuff that's going on right here in this country right now. I can't fathom how many people have had to have sold us out in order to get to the point that we are today. And that goes into what I was saying at the top. People just saying stuff that others want to hear and not standing behind any of it. I've done a lot of messed up things throughout my life. Dishonorable in many ways throughout my life. But the difference in me and many others is I'm right up front with my shortcomings. In fact, I will often start out with my shortcomings because I don't want anybody to be surprised. A lot of people in today's society really have a big problem with people that mean what they say. And I don't know what to tell them. Maybe not be a douchebag. Probably not be a douchebag. I'm telling you, we're in for some very, very hard times. And with what I'm seeing in the news, I don't think, as I said a while ago, I don't think that there's a peaceful solution. Because I don't think people will allow for a peaceful solution. That's what I'd like to have. Of course I'd like to have that. But it seems like there are a whole hell of a lot of people out there that just don't understand that no means no. Stop means stop. And I don't know what to tell them folks. One day that is going to bite them. Unbelievable. This article that just popped up on RT is pretty wild. Oops. What happened here? Okay. That went there. I gotta find the art. There it is. Okay. Hang on here. Gotta find where to best put it. Well, I guess right here. So make that 9 articles now, because that one does definitely need to be covered. I guess the best thing is to jump right on into it, because there's quite a bit, and I don't want to be here all night. I woke up, just out of a dead sleep. I woke up at 3 a.m. this morning. And the spot that gives me trouble in between my shoulder blades was just tearing me a new one. And I did manage, I actually laid on the futon, because if you don't put the futon out into a bed, of course it's got the kind of the hump in it. And I use that. I lay my back across that, and sometimes my sternum, depending on where I need to. And it typically helps. It helped enough that I was able to doze back off for a little while, but man, it is crazy. I took ibuprofen. I try not to take anything, but I took ibuprofen about an hour ago, I guess, and I'm feeling a little bit better. No, I guess it's been a couple hours, and I guess I'm feeling a little bit better at this point. Might take some again before I actually go to bed, and then hopefully that'll get me through the night. So let's just jump right on into this. This first one has got me a bit pissed off. I'm going to be real frank with you. I am just getting so sick of this BS. so incredibly sick of this BS. When there are veterans that are homeless, veterans that can't get the medical attention that they desperately need, and we're kicking kids out of schools to be able to shelter migrants, California is making sure the way is paved for gender reassignment for immigrants. I'll be damned if we can't help those veterans. We can't take care of the health issues from the toxic fires that they were around. We can't help them with their health issues from the depleted uranium that they were around. We couldn't even honestly help the people, the responders. I don't want to just say first responders, because there was a lot of people that weren't in any type of a special team, if you will, that were involved in 9/11. That wound up with all kinds of different respiratory diseases and death after being told, after being promised that the air was safe for them to breathe. I've got big issues with that stuff. But, we can give immigrants, illegal immigrants, sex, gender reassignment. It blows my mind. Here in the state of Illinois, an illegal immigrant has driving privileges, and, well, if the governor has his way, they'll be working in law enforcement. People that are not even citizens are going to be enforcing laws over people that's been born here. I have no issue if they want to go through the process and if they want to become an American. Then by all means, give them the same opportunities, aside from the ability to be president of the United States. I won't agree to that. But if they go through the process and that they do everything that's required of them, then absolutely give them every single chance that somebody that was born and bred here got. Absolutely. But when you got tons and tons of people that were clearly helped to get to the border, and then allowing them in and giving them things that you won't even provide for your own citizens, not even the people that went and fought and bled and watched their friends die in quote-unquote defense of this nation. Why I felt it was so important to start out that way is because the reason that we got here is because there's been a lot of loudmouths talking that don't have shit to back them. It's just mind-blowing to me how far somebody with nothing can offer can get. Yet somebody that's busted their balls all their life ain't got nothing for them. It's bullshit. And again, I'll repeat it. I do not see a peaceful way out of this. Don't. Because the politicians clearly do not represent us. Not any of them. The last politician of any stature at all that truly understood what this nation was about was Ron Paul. One guy. Everybody's talking about the election coming. Everybody's talking about this candidate or that candidate, as if it's going to make a difference. My question is, when can we pull off the bullshit rose-colored glasses and truly understand that this is a nation of them versus us? I think a lot of people know it. I just don't think they're strong enough to declare it. Weak people make for a weak nation. And that's where we stand. So, the first article I'm covering tonight is U.S. school boots out students to shelter migrants. Thousands of New York City public school students were ordered to attend classes remotely on Wednesday so that migrants previously housed in a Brooklyn tent city could take shelter in their school gymnasium during an approaching storm. Students and teachers were informed on Tuesday morning that the James Madison High School had been activated as a temporary overnight respite center for some 1,900 migrants staying at the Floyd Bennett Field, a tent city 5 miles away. They were given until 5 p.m. to remove everything they might need for the coming days. The relocation was described by City Hall spokeswoman Kayla Mimelak, something like that, as a proactive measure being taken out of an abundance of caution, there's those words again, to ensure the safety and well-being of individuals working and living at the center, as the storm was predicted to bring winds of up to 70 miles an hour. However, it was not clear how long the migrants were expected to be staying at the gym. The relocation will continue until any further weather conditions that may arise have stabilized and the facility is once again fit for living, Mimelak said. She noted that the migrants would continue to be provided with essential services and support while occupying the school building. New York City Mayor Eric Adams attempted to convert public school gyms into migrant housing last spring as thousands of illegal immigrants descended on the city every week. The plan met with strident opposition and organized protests from parents concerned about their children sharing space with unvetted adults of unknown origin. The mayor ultimately backed off on plans to convert dozens of gyms into temporary migrant accommodation, though his administration denied a policy reversal had taken place and reserved the right to commandeer the buildings once more if the rate of new arrivals increased. Over 162,000 migrants have arrived in New York City since the spring of 2022, when governors and mayors of states along the southern U.S. border began busing them north en masse to so-called sanctuary cities, known for their refusal to enforce immigration law. The human tide has long since overwhelmed the shelter system, leading the city to erect 3 massive tent complexes across the 5 boroughs. Though only Floyd Bennett Field, with its tents held down by heavy stones rather than permanent anchors, was deemed at risk enough to warrant evacuation in the face of the coming storm. Last month, Adams predicted the resulting humanitarian crisis would cost the city $12 billion over 3 years. He has declared a state of emergency and significantly cut funding for most city services. So once again, you got the citizens that are going without. this isn't going to stop. And it doesn't matter who gets in the office of the presidency. People need to understand the president is a figurehead. And while they may have executive orders, not only are their powers limited by those executive orders can be thrown out by the Supreme Court in a heartbeat. And when the next dipshit gets into office, most likely going to be thrown out anyway. And typically, as I've been watching, every time that we get a step forward, when the next jackass gets in office, we get 2 steps back. This time around, we're about 10 steps back. Now, I don't think people are really paying attention to how far we have slid overall. It's almost like people only look at like what we've slid with the last president. Right? Like now people are looking at just how far we've slid since Obama, since Obama, might as well be the same, since Biden took office. And I'm looking at that going, no, I got to go back to Reagan. The jackass that deregulated the banks, the jackass that called for NAFTA to be drafted, yes, that was Reagan. I know that Bush is the one that signed it into law. I get that. Reagan is the one that had it drafted. Go look it up. Now, I can't remember back any further than that because I was actually still pretty young when Reagan was in office. But I don't remember Carter. I don't remember any prior presidents to Reagan. So I can only count from Reagan on. And I know between NAFTA, I know between deregulating the banks, they sold this country out right then and there in the 80s. And I've said this before, what is mind-blowingly stunning to me is how long it took to slow the wheels of this nation down. That's a testament to this nation. It truly is. But there's no rubber left on those tires anymore. There's too many holes to plug. And we're riding on the rims. I don't even think that if we did truly get honest politicians, and I mean a bunch of them, not just one or two, if we got honest politicians in office that truly wanted to fix it, I don't think it's possible. Don't think it's possible. The only way that we could fix this nation from where we stand, even if we tried, would absolutely take the cooperation of other nations around the planet. Because we can't just stiff all these other nations and all these other companies and all this other stuff of what we owe them. That ain't going to happen. I don't know. I don't see a peaceful way out of this. This is a pretty eye-opening article. Of course, I can't validate any of it. But it is War News 24/7. And they've proven to be right on target with everything that I've read from them. But they can only go by the information that they get. And since there wasn't a whole lot of official statements put out, we kind of just got to take people's words for things, I guess. I'm not hip on that. In an atmosphere of great tension, the long-hour meeting of the American Foreign Minister Antony Blinken, it's Antony, not Anthony, with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was held, according to what is being reported by the Israeli media. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's lengthy one-on-one meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken was tense, Channel 12 reports. Indicative of the bad climate is that Antony Blinken gave a press conference alone without Netanyahu present. Now, that is something that can be verified, and I did. That does speak. That does speak, because usually there's always their joint press conference and plenty of photo op and all that. And it seemed like this meeting was really cold. This is at the same time the Israeli Prime Minister's office did not release the minutes as it is wont to do. Yeah, I know it's not written right, that's why I can't say it right. Which may indicate the rift. The gap, I don't even know what the hell they were trying to say. The gap between the U.S. and Israel is widening and Washington is losing patience, the Channel 12 report emphasizes. Blinken met privately with Netanyahu at Tel Aviv's, I don't know if it's Kuria, military base, and then with the war cabinet. Israel is going full steam ahead at war with Hezbollah. Military preparations have escalated in the last 48 hours, with relations with the U.S. and UK at a tipping point for the first time in history. Now, that may be true, at least a little bit at least, when it comes to the United States. As far as the UK, I can't really confirm that or even see it, because they're doing a pretty good job of pandering from what I've seen. Parking lot. Just need to turn it into a parking lot. Says, will the U.S. continue to send massive military aid to Israel if the situation with Hezbollah goes wrong? Or is Netanyahu about to commit a historic strategic blunder? Well, I kind of think he's already done that. Long time ago. It didn't just start on October 7. How will Israel withstand a multi-front struggle with the West numb, if not hostile towards it? The U.S. media, what they're talking about, says U.S. Secretary of State stressed that Israel must do more to remove barriers to aid entering Gaza and must ensure smooth distribution once it gets in, noting that the UN says 90% of Gazans experience food insecurity. Hell, that was before October 7. The toll on Gazans, especially children, is very high, he said, adding that more food, water, and medicine must enter the enclave and reach people who need it. You know, one way you can tell whether or not a nation is food insecure is to look at its people. Do you see a lot of morbidly obese Palestinians? No? I wonder if that's an indicator. No. Couldn't be. He also stated that a Palestinian state is the key to any peace plan, and there must be regional cooperation to achieve this goal. Gazans must be allowed to return to their homes, he added. We continue to stand by Israel to ensure that October 7 does not happen again, he said, while calling for strengthening the protection of civilians in Gaza. At the same time, he noted that the U.S. is working to chart a course towards maintaining peace and security in the long term. It is worth noting that the U.S. Secretary of State clarified that Israel must also support the UN's efforts to restore the Gaza Strip. Palestinian citizens must be allowed to return to their homes as soon as conditions permit, he clarified, adding that they should not be displaced outside Gaza. He also informed that Netanyahu told him that this will not happen, and He's made it very clear. Netanyahu has made it very clear. What they are going to do is completely eliminate the possibility of Palestinians even being in Palestine. And then they're just going to take it over. What I said they were going to do. According to CNN, Antony Blinken stressed the importance of avoiding further harm to the civilian population and protecting civilian infrastructure in Gaza. In his meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the Defense Cabinet in Tel Aviv on Tuesday, according to with a reading of the U.S. State Department. It is Greek that gets translated into English, so I'm sure that there's a little bit of funniness there. It suggests that the two sides discussed a proposal by Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Galad, also a member of the War Cabinet, that Israel would not allow Palestinians to return to northern Gaza until all remaining hostages were freed. A U.S. official told CNN on Monday that the issue is expected to be part of the discussion. Blinken and Netanyahu discussed ongoing efforts to free all remaining hostages and the importance of increasing the level of humanitarian aid reaching civilians in Gaza, according to a State Department readout. Blinken, who has also toured Arab countries for talks on plans for the future governance of Gaza and integration into the Middle East, said earlier that the meetings would discuss the way forward in the war. So, and then this goes back into what they were talking about with them, and I'm not going to read the entire article because, as you can tell, I'm not reading all of that. No. It's tweeted out, so if you want to read it, it's on our Twitter page. Again, I don't see a peaceful solution. And I really do honestly think that we're going to see that entire area light up like a Christmas tree soon enough. Because there's things that, like I don't have brought up that plays into all of this, but we'll cover it when we cover headlines, and I'll make little mentions here and there. Like I said, there's a whole lot of articles that I would have liked to have brought up, but that I don't have that much time. This is the article that just, and I see there's another number up there. Oh, okay, that's the nonsense about Fatty McGee. I mean, Chris Christie. I'm not a fan of Chris Christie. Can you tell? I don't know that anybody is a fan. I don't think he's got fans. I think he's just got big dinner bills. Anyway, that's why he's that's why he's governor, so he can get on the government paid food program with his personal chef. Or more accurately, chefs, because it got to take more than one to keep up with that man. Anyway. No, I don't like Chris Christie. I shouldn't say that stuff. I just don't. I hate Chris Christie. That guy is a slimy. He's just as bad. You know what? He could be brothers, absolute brothers with Pritzker. You see me eat some of my Mexican food, right? Yeah. After he gets done with that bout of diarrhea, he won't be so big. Thankfully, I haven't had any issues as of yet. So, that was good, though. Oh, my goodness. That was delicious. Yeah, I have that. Hang on. Yeah, I do. So folks know what we're talking about. That was our dinner today. Chili covered burritos. It was good. It was really good. I had to do that again. Well, they're just cheap frozen burritos. I think these are what are they, El Monte or Monterey or something? I don't know. I tried getting a cheap Walmart brand, but they apparently were out of those. So they're just beef and bean burritos, and then that's just chili. Chili that I made, and my chili's super simple. Packet of chili seasoning, 2 cans of I normally use Great Value. The chili ready tomatoes, not diced. I don't remember what they're called. Not diced, but they're cut up. The tomatoes. I use 2 cans of the tomatoes, 2 of the big 40-ounce cans of Brooks chili beans. Everything mild, by the way, and then mild chili seasoning packet and pound of hamburger. That's it. So that's how I make my, and I don't add anything else into the chili because for Jen, it's kind of a bit spicy for her. I could handle it a little bit spicier, but I don't like super spicy. And then, like I say, they're just the cheap frozen beef and bean burritos, so nothing to it. The chili was actually leftovers, so it just sounded like a good idea, so I went with it. Yeah, they are good. They are good. I like those. The other thing, I did brush some red sauce on them before I put the chili on top. So, yeah, that's normally how we do it. We just, I'll cook the burritos, I'll pull them out, and we got one of those little silicone kind of paintbrush kind of things for basting stuff or whatever, and I just slather some red sauce on it, throw some cheese on it, throw it in there for another couple of minutes, and they're awesome that way. But today I put chili and more cheese on top. Coffee. All right. Russian region begins building apartments for Gaza refugees. That, first of all, I have to say though, they shouldn't have to be going to live in the Czech Republic. They shouldn't have to. They should go to their home that they inherited through generations and generations of their families living there, going all the way back to biblical times. They shouldn't have to move anywhere else. Russia's Muslim-majority region will build apartments to house the Palestinians fleeing the Gaza Strip, Ramzan Kadyrov, the head of the Chechen Republic, announced on Wednesday. Kadyrov made his statement when attending the groundbreaking ceremony in the area designated for the construction of 5 blocks of 35 apartments each. The houses will be located close to a school and nursery. With great pleasure, I have congratulated the settlers who will soon receive new homes, Kadyrov wrote on Telegram. I stress that we will continue providing comprehensive assistance and support. The project was funded through a regional charity. Each family will be provided with 100,000 rubles, or $1,120, according to the regional government. Around 130 million rubles, or 1.4, I think that's supposed to be $1.45 million, were allocated for humanitarian aid to Gaza and the settlement of refugees, Chechen officials said. Chechnya, hard to say it for me, has so far taken in more than 200 Palestinians fleeing the fighting between Israel and Hamas, Around 30 have since found employment in local health care. Russia has accepted a total of 1,158 refugees from Gaza since the conflict broke out on October 7. The hostilities, well, this goes into the history. I'm not going to keep repeating the history. Unbelievable. But good on the Czech Republic for standing up and doing the right thing. Now, one thing I don't understand with War News 27 is like a lot of times when they'll talk about Putin in the headline, they'll have the capital letter B in a period and then Putin. I have no idea what the hell that's supposed to mean. Just as here, they've got a capital N before Trump. I have no idea what that's supposed to mean. I don't know if it's just a mistranslation or what. Says disarming honesty in Trump. If Europe is attacked, we will not help. NATO is dead. We will abandon it. I'm all for it. Will it happen? No. Guy's full of shit. If people haven't realized that from the first 4 years, they're clueless and hopeless. He is full of shit. What was the biggest thing that he ran on in 2016? What phrase got him more votes than any other? And it wasn't "Make America Great Again." Nope, not even close. Lock her up is what got Trump elected in this country. And then literally on Inauguration Day, go look it up, on Inauguration Day, he said that he wasn't going to pursue Hillary and told everybody, leave her alone. I can't ignore this stuff. I can't dumb myself down, blind myself, and be such a fool to ignore it. Especially, and I've just brought this up recently, in order for Operation Warp Speed to be implemented, before that could have even been done, the Right to Try Act had to be put into place. Because without the right to try, they wouldn't have been able to legally do that. That's something that people need to think long and hard on. Controlled opposition, and there's a whole hell of a lot of it. You're not going to get anything but controlled opposition. Where was I at? Oh, I guess I didn't really start. Did I? No. It says, if Europe is attacked, the U.S. will not help, Donald Trump reportedly told Ursula von der Leyen when he was president. One of Europe's most senior politicians has told how former U.S. President Donald Trump privately warned that America would not come to the aid of the EU if it came under military attack, according to Politico. So essentially the basis of this article is to instill fear in the blue team. What this is about, I can tell you what, just the beginning of it. You have to understand that if Europe is attacked, we will never come to your aid and support, Trump told European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen in 2020, according to a French European Commissioner, Thierry Breton, who was also present at a meeting at the World Economic Forum in Davos. By the way, NATO is dead, and we're going to leave. We're going to leave NATO, Trump also said, according to Breton. And he added, And by the way, you owe me $400 billion because the Germans didn't pay what they were supposed to pay for defense, Breton said. In his previous term in the White House, Trump had repeatedly butted heads with traditional U.S. allies over trade and defense spending. During this election campaign, he has given little indication of the foreign policy he intends to pursue if he secures a second term as president. The claim that he could end the war in Ukraine within 24 hours had caused concern in several European capitals. So, I'm not one for making predictions, but I'm damn well going to make one here. Schmuck Boy here is going to ask Nikki Haley to be vice president. And I know a lot of people have been talking about that. That's what's going to happen. Why? Because let's stop bullshitting ourselves. He's one of them. He's one of them. And just like he got a piece of garbage for a vice president the first time, if he succeeds this time, you can damn well bet it's going to be with a piece of garbage vice president. Why? Come on. Articles like this are meant to do two things. Number one, like I previously said, scare blue team to get them out to vote, vote, vote. And the other thing is to fool the dumbass red team into believing that there's really an opposition. All I ask people to do is follow the tracks and just investigate, research that one thing I mentioned, that in order for Operation Warp Speed to have been implemented, the right to try had to be put in place first. And if that doesn't tell you anything, there's no hope. UK Christmas retail sales nosedive, says a report. Yeah. And we're still not going to get anywhere close to the truth as to just how bad that the sales were this year. Because they're not going to... They want to control the fear. And the last thing that they want is people, at least at this point in time, to be hysterical. They don't want that. That doesn't benefit them. When people are hysterical, you can't guide them because they are hysterical. But if they're just kept in a certain level of fear, very easy to control them. Very easy. They've been doing it. Again, this stuff's been going on for decades. Decades. I know of 50 plus years that it's been going on. That's freaking sad. Or no, I guess not 50, 40 years. I mean, I'm 51, but I can't count those first 11 years. I mean, come on. But I do remember Reagan in the 80s. Not a lot, but I do remember some of it. No need in reading that. We already know that bullshit. This here is the more concerning headline involving the economy. Global GDP growth to be lowest for decades, says World Bank. The global economy is on track for its worst 5-year period of growth in at least 3 decades, the World Bank warned in its latest Global Economic Prospects report released on Tuesday. This year, global growth is expected to decline for the 3rd year in a row, making the economic performance in the period between 2020 and 2024 worse than during the years surrounding the 2008-2009 global financial crisis, the Asian financial crisis of the late 1990s, and the downturns in the early 2000s, World Bank Deputy Chief Economist Ayhan Kozi, I don't know how that's pronounced, don't even have a clue, told reporters. According to the organization, Growth in the world economy is set to drop by 2.4% in 2024 from the 2.6% recorded last year amid increased geopolitical tensions. And an anticipated slowdowns in advanced economies. Escalation of the Ukraine and Israel-Hamas conflicts could have significant implications for energy prices that could have impacts on inflation as well as on economic growth, Cozy told CNBC. The report warned that most world economies are set to grow at a weaker pace in 2024 and 2025 than in the previous decade, adding that without major course correction, the 2020s will go down as a decade of wasted opportunity. According to the organization, developing economies are expected to be the hardest hit on a medium-term basis as sluggish global trade and tight financial conditions weigh heavily on growth. Near-term growth will remain weak, leaving many developed countries, especially the poorest, stuck in a trap with paralyzing levels of debt and tenuous access to food for nearly 1 out of every 3 people, World Bank Group chief economist Ender McGill said in a statement. The U.S. economy, which saw 2.5% growth last year, is forecast to expand by a mere 1.6% in 2024 as restrictive monetary policy dampens business activity amid shrinking savings, the development bank said. Meanwhile, the Eurozone's outlook for this year is considerably bleaker, with growth expected at just 7.7%, after the ramifications of the energy crisis resulted in 0.4% growth in 2023. And believe me, we haven't saw anything yet when it comes to the energy crisis. Just wait. I have a feeling that in a couple of months things are going to be nasty enough when it comes to anything involving any type of energy. Coffee. Oh, man. I've almost drank all my coffee already. Oh, well, it is almost 9 o'clock already. Damn. Again. Oh, okay. I've got too many apps. This, again, I don't know what to tell people. One thing you always need to be careful of is anything that's provided for you because of the convenience of it. Like, I don't know, grabbing a bottle of water. Almost everything I can think of that's made for your convenience is bad for you. Fast food, that isn't exactly the most healthy thing in the world, now is it? Bottled water, do you know how few regulations there are on bottled water? And this is what blows my... I'm going to read the article, and I'll go over it when I reach it, but I had no idea of this, and it blew my mind, because all I heard was people, this is so much better than that, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. Wait till you hear this. The headline, scientists find about 250,000 invisible nanoplastic particles in a liter of bottled water. The average liter of bottled water has nearly 250,000 invisible pieces of ever so tiny nanoplastics detected and categorized for the first time by a microscope using dual lasers. Scientists, I just got huffed. Scientists long figured there were lots of these What are you talking about? You get water out of a Berkey filter. Jeez. Anyway, scientists long figured out there were lots of these microscopic plastic pieces, but until researchers at Columbia and Rutgers universities did their calculations, they never knew how many or what kind. Looking at 5 samples of three common bottled water brands, researchers found particles levels ranging from 110,000 to 400,000 per liter, averaging at around 240,000, according to a study in Monday's Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. These are particles that are less than a micron in size. There are 25,400 microns, also called micrometers, because it's a millionth of a meter in an inch. There's going to be a test on this. A human hair is about 83 microns wide. Previous studies have looked at slightly bigger microplastics that range from the visible 5 millimeters, less than a quarter of an inch, to 1 micron. About 10 to 100 times more nanoplastics than microplastics were discovered in bottled water, the study found. Much of the plastic, and this is where it blows my mind, much of the plastic seems to be coming from the bottle itself and the reverse osmosis membrane filter used to keep out other contaminants, said study lead author Nyexin Quian, I don't know how to say that, a Colombian physical chemist. She wouldn't reveal the 3 brands because researchers want more samples before they single out a brand and want to study more brands. Still, she said they were common and bought at Walmart. So, you can probably guess at least a couple of them. Researchers still can't answer the big question, are those nanoplastic pieces harmful to health? Come on now. We're also talking about a scientific and a medical community that bullshitted everybody into thinking that smoking cigarettes was okay. It wasn't going to cause you any problems. It wasn't going to give you cancer. I don't trust a damn thing from any of them. I don't. But I know I've got enough common sense to know not to reach for everything that's convenient. We don't even have a microwave oven. We don't want a microwave oven. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. I don't want anything changing the molecular structure of the food that I eat. And microwaves do that very thing. Also, now, and here's the thing. Smoking is way down compared to what it used to be. Pollution, way down compared to what it used to be. I mean massively down compared to what it used to be. So how come cancer is spiking through the roof? Now, I'm not saying that all people microwaving their food. I'm certain that that's not the biggest contributor. The biggest contributor is all those convenient foods that we're buying, regardless of how it is that you prepare them. If you're eating boxed hamburger helper meals, and I used to be all about that stuff all the time. We don't do it now. In fact, the entire time that me and Jen's been together, I don't think we've ever bought a box of hamburger helper, have we? I don't think we've ever bought a single box of hamburger helper. Not a single box. So, and the last apartment we were in had a microwave, but that was because it was like installed, it was one of those under cabinet deals. So we had a microwave there, and I used it a little bit, but not real often. Just don't. I'm not an idiot. I don't want my food irradiated. No, thank you. Now this. But, the thing of it is that this is all bullshit distraction anyway. You think anything's really going to happen? I mean, come on. It's also in the news. I don't have the article up, but it's also in the news that Ray Epps, you remember that cat? He got probation. So while there were people that got prison sentences for doing nothing more than staying within the roped off areas and walking through the Capitol building, they're sitting in prison. Ray Epps gets probation. Ray Epps was one of the people that was encouraging people to do it. Here they're going after Trump and anybody they can for quote-unquote insurrection, when Ray Epps should have been one of the people charged first with that. It's mind-blowing to me. And I don't have faith. I'm sorry to say this, but I don't have faith in the American people. They aren't going to do shit. Nothing. Well, what can we do? Stop crying. Stop going to a ballot box every 4 years and think you're making a difference. Stop being a fucking moron. That is step one. Step two, stand up, get the fuck off your ass, and show up somewhere. The left has been doing it for decades and getting away with every damn thing they want. Again, I'll remind people that there are a number of people sitting in prison right now that did nothing more than the same damn thing they would in a tour of the Capitol building. And they are in prison. The left is running around with these bullshit stories about insurrection and oh my God, while Antifa and these other groups had these communities like CHOP and, what was it, Jazz or something? Literally committing terrorism. Literally committing terrorism. I heard that piece of shit Biden just the other day, in a little short clip, talk about how people on the right were trying to call what happened at the Capitol building a peaceful protest. And it's like I want to slam my head up against a brick wall. And they're letting them get away with it. What do you mean by that? What do I mean by letting them get away with it? Because there ain't a whole hell of a lot of fucking things the government can do when they've got 500,000 people knocking on their damn door. But all we've got is a bunch of fucking loudmouths sitting on their asses at home on Facebook. There is no hope for this nation. There isn't. All I'm doing is being honest. All I'm doing. Anyway, U.S. President's son storms out of court. I know, I lose a little bit, but this is bullshit. I'm getting tired of these fake motherfuckers. I got one piece of shit in the Highland group that we're in now. Can't even use his real name. He's such a fucking pansy, he can't use his real name. Trying to call other people out. The fuck, dude? Grow some fucking balls. If you manage to do that, come and fucking see me, bitch. Come and fucking see me. Because I am sick of you fucking pussies letting this entire nation get run into the ground and acting like you're something fucking big. Come see somebody that means what the fuck they say. My kids, that because of this fucking piece of shit government that I can't have anything to do with raising, have to grow up in this piece of shit country. And my hands are tied because we got a nation of red team that won't get off their ass. But want to call out those that do. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I hope that silly motherfucker comes and pays me a visit. I got a little bit of agitation I could get rid of. U.S. President's son stormed out of court. I know I already read it. U.S. President Sean? I think that's supposed to be son. Hunter Biden stormed out of a congressional hearing debating holding him in contempt for his failure to appear at a previous hearing on Wednesday, after surprising House Republicans with his presence. Flanked by his lawyers, Abby Lowell and Kevin Morris, the son of President Joe Biden, caused a stir when he sat down in the front row of the hearing room of the House Oversight Committee, was debating a resolution to hold him in contempt of Congress over his refusal to attend a scheduled deposition last month. Representative Nancy Mace was first to address the new arrival, asking rhetorically, who bribed Hunter Biden to be here today? Oh, this, again, and this is all nothing but a show, but at least the show looked good. You are the epitome of white privilege coming into the Oversight Committee, spitting into our face, ignoring a congressional subpoena to be deposed. What are you afraid of? Mace continued, declaring that Biden had no balls. He broke the law both deliberately and flagrantly when he flaunted the congressional subpoena, she said. Hunter Biden wasn't afraid of involving Joe Biden in shady business deals with our foreign adversaries when the elder Biden was Barack Obama's vice president, but he was too afraid to show up for a deposition, Mace concluded, suggesting that the 53-year-old be arrested right here, right now, and go straight to jail. Yeah, right. After Representative Jared Moskowitz defended the younger Biden, arguing the committee chair had given him the option of testifying in a public hearing instead of the deposition, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, another loudmouth that does nothing, began to speak, triggering Biden's hasty exit. Hunter Biden didn't show up for a subpoena. Hunter Biden showed up today to make a clown show of himself to show that he is nothing but someone that will not obey the law, Greene observed. Not only is he a criminal, but he is a coward. She contrasted his actions with those of former President Donald Trump and his children, who sat for hours of questioning when subpoenaed. Insane. But again, it's just a distraction. Just a distraction. Because this entire time, are they slowing down even a little bit in destroying this nation? No. But they can get all the simple-minded folks to sit there and bicker nonstop about this stuff while they're completely ignoring what's truly going on. As I said, I don't see a lot of hope. when a human being is so bankrupt that they start lying to themselves, what do you expect? Anyway, here's the last article I've got. Hell, it's 9:15. Mandatory recall issued for 600,000 Ram trucks amid emissions scandal. So let's read this. It says engine maker Cummins Incorporated will recall 600,000 Ram trucks as part of a settlement with federal and California authorities that also requires the company to remedy environmental damage caused by the illegal software that let it skirt diesel emissions tests. Now, it seems like there was another company that ran into issue, Volkswagen. It also seems to me like Volkswagen got a hell of a lot more done to them than what Cummins is. It says new details of the settlement reached in December were released Wednesday. Cummins had already agreed to $1.675 billion civil penalty to settle claims, the largest ever secured under the Clean Air Act, plus $325 million for pollution remedies. Do you really think that's hurting the company? That brings Cummins' total penalty to more than $2 billion, while officials from the Justice Department, Environmental Protection Agency, California Air Resources Board, and the California Attorney General called Landmark in a call with reporters Wednesday. Ooh, Landmark! We just had a plane 16,000 feet in the air. Literally have a panel come off of the plane. If they would have been up at altitude, every one of them would have been dead. There is a clear failure of our systems that are put into place that are supposed to, quote unquote, protect people. Do you feel protected yet? The only way to fix stuff like this, fix stuff like Boeing, fix stuff like Cummins, is to completely dissolve the company, criminally charge the people behind what they did, criminally, not this bullshit, fine bullshit, no. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. There are a whole hell of a lot of people that say they do. I want to see it. I don't want to hear it. I want to see it. I'm done hearing. I am just again, I've got kids that at least at this point in life I can't in any way help because of a failed court system. And it's not just failed. It's not a matter of it didn't work out. It's a matter of specifically targeting fathers. It's not just me. There's a nation of us. Not only a nation of us, there is multiple nations of us. This is not an accident. This is not an oversight. It's not a whoopsie. They knew damn well what would happen when they started taking fathers out of the homes. And it indeed happened. Take a look around. Do you think they would have been able to get this far if we still had a good quality family unit? Not even close. Because dads would be in there tearing some new assholes. But now dad's got to bend down and kiss the boots of the court systems just to be a part of their children's lives. You see how that works? And once again, we let them do it. I have been saying for a long damn time that the fathers just need to pick a damn day. Pick a day to show up at their county courthouse. And when every county courthouse has a minimum of 100, 200,000 fathers there raising hell, that's how you change things. But we will never change it by individually going to court and battling. What's the old saying? I can't even remember it exactly verbatim. But we either stand together or we hang alone. And when it comes to family courts, father's been hanging alone. If we want our country, we're going to have to take it back. There's not going to be any other way. But I don't know that that's even going to be possible. Because the powers that be are hell-bent on destroying any strength of any nation. What is going on is a concerted effort. And it doesn't matter if they're red team, blue team, green team, yellow team, red, whatever. It doesn't matter. They're all working together. If they weren't working together, they wouldn't have been able to get this far. You notice how hard it is for them to actually get a good law passed? It's near impossible. But any time that they got bullshit, boy, they got all the bipartisan support they need. And it's each and every time. Look at all the landmark things that go through the government, right? And you'll think, oh, well, we've got the votes on this. We've got the votes on this. And you have some prick like McCain stand up and sell us out. But voting's going to make a difference. Whatever. Whatever. Do the headlines so I can get out of here and hopefully sleep. Not seeing that happening too well at this point. Germany likely in recession, says Bloomberg. Again, what's your first clue? Been in a recession for at least 2 years at this point? At least, maybe 3. Along with much of the rest of the world. UK Christmas retail sales nosedive, says a report. Houthis launch complex missile attack. A number of severely injured Ukrainian troops up by 30%, says ABC News. Complaints of Russian language use in Ukraine rise 30%. Kim warns South Korea of potential annihilation. World Bank issues new Russian GDP forecast. President laments mislabeling trans lawmaker gentleman dressed as woman. Again, this will stop if we get off our asses, because they won't have any other choice but to stop it. Do you think, and yeah, I guess you would have some reason to believe so, but do you really think they're going to take out hundreds of thousands of their own citizens in order to keep pushing for this crap? I don't. Especially if people in all the nations that are dealing with this nonsense stand up and say no. The only way to fix this. Kim warns South Korea of potential annihilation. World Bank... Oh, actually, I read those. Sorry. EU dips further into emergency gas reserves. Secret meeting on Ukraine, a PR stunt, says Moscow. Another wave of protests sweep through Germany. All these other nations, the people standing up. And we just bitch on Facebook. Russia names main threat to global economy. Boeing acknowledges mistake after mid-air blowout. Well, at least they didn't take as long to acknowledge this as what they did, I don't know, the 2 airplanes full of people that died. Russia seizes a ton of cocaine. Ecuador tightens security at energy facilities. Russia's new gliding bomb to go into serial production, says media. Ukraine conflict drove up ammo prices tenfold, says EU member. Polish authorities arrest former interior minister and his deputy. UK Parliament cold, damp, and infested with mice, says Politico. Ukrainians will benefit from Zelensky's fall, says exiled opposition leader. Estonia received 100 man-pads portable air defense systems from Poland. There's no question of removing the Secretary of Defense, says the White House, after the scandal about his secret hospitalization. Well, if I'm not mistaken, and this blows my mind, they're trying to impeach this cat now, but not over this. They're trying to impeach this cat over the quote-unquote spy balloon that they lied about. And while I'm good with that, because it needs to happen, why are they just now bringing that up? You don't think that a large number of these politicians knew that they were lying the entire time about those balloons? I knew they were lying about those balloons. I sat here and told you they were lying about those balloons while people thought I was absolutely off my rocker full of shit. There's this thing called common sense and discernment. And you can typically tell by someone's reactions what's really going on. And if that would have been a surveillance balloon, if that would have been a military balloon from China, Xi Jinping wouldn't have taken 2 seconds to deny it. But his response was, let me look into it. And he meant it. He meant it. Now, I'm not saying that I like Xi Jinping or that I believe everything he says. Clearly, I don't. I don't believe everything any government says. But by the reaction, it was obvious. But the news media had everybody spun up. Oh my God, it's a surveillance spy balloon, blah, 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 blah. Really? Really? And then it comes out that they knew full well about those balloons long before they got anywhere near where the public discovered them. They knew that they were benign, that they were weather research balloons, just like China said. They knew the entire time. Israel's historic mistake. Oh, I covered that one. China has become more aggressive, says UK Foreign Secretary. NASA postpones launch of much hyped new rockets, so now they're even holding off on launching the rockets. Let's see. I read that one. Ukrainians in UK told to register for military service. West got Ukraine painfully wrong, says EU states PM. The Turks are preparing operations in the Green Zone. They unloaded 155mm self-propelled guns in occupied Famagusta. I don't know if this is a build-up for what's going on. I don't know. January 6th riot instigator gets probation. That was Ray Epps. Putin visits region bordering U.S. Finland looking to extend border closure with Russia, says media. U.S. President's son storms out of court. Oh, I covered that. Let's see. December 16, secret Ukraine meeting. West begs Russia for peace talks. UK bans Calvin Klein ad for objectifying women. Yeah. I mean, it'd probably be okay, though, if they put some dude dressed up like a woman. That would be okay to objectify that. Jailed Polish ex-minister begins hunger strike. 82-year-old Ukrainian labels his jailers fascists. Let's see. EU needs Russia more than we need them, says Putin. Italy's sloppy admission, the time for diplomacy for Ukraine, the counterattack has failed. What was your first clue? NATO-Ukraine Emergency Council, there is a need to strengthen Kiev's air defense systems. And good luck with that. Russia begins production of new Drell-type glide bombs, long range, and difficulty of jamming. The Washington Post is in despair. The U.S.'s biggest mistake if it stops aid to Ukraine. Terrible consequences. Zelensky's panicked. Russia wants to occupy the entire territory of Ukraine. Well, he wouldn't have if he wouldn't have frickin' fought him for a couple of years. Moron. The only reason why Russia was trying to get those areas was because the people wanted to be a part of Russia. Why wouldn't they be? The Ukrainian government is one of the absolute most corrupt on the planet. Why wouldn't they want Russia to take control? Some things are just so much right in your face common sense. Let's see, covered that. Talked about the Chris Christie rolling down the hill. Suspending his campaign and then rolling down the hill. And there's a number one up there. Police in EU state scaremongering over Russian TV series, Says media. Crazy. Anyway, that's what I got. It's 9:35. I'm tired. I'm pissed. And I want to go to bed. I try to stay calm. I do. But I have a very low tolerance for stupidity. It is what it is. Anyway, I'm out of here. I hope you all have a good evening. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. I'm not banned from YouTube. And hopefully we'll see you then. So I hope you have a good night. I hope to see you tomorrow. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.